Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Legaltech Hub product briefing. I'm Stephanie Wilkins, the Director of Content at Legaltech Hub. And you can probably see from my guest today that this is a special edition of our product briefing because we're going to be talking about Legaltech Hub itself. So I would like to welcome CEO and co-founder of LTH, Nikki Shaver.
Thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. I'm not used to
Yeah.
being on this side of these.
I know, and I'm glad we are doing this. So I had this idea that since we as LTH are about to turn 5 years old, I thought it would be a good chance for us to tell everybody a little bit about how LTH started, why, how it's evolved, because we put a spotlight on a lot of other companies out there and less so on ourselves. And 5 years sounded like a great time to do it.
I love it. And you're absolutely right. We should put a spotlight on ourselves as well.
Yes. So, as one of the original co-founders in 2020, can you give the audience a little bit of a sense of why you even started LTH in the first place?
Absolutely. So back in 2020, a lot of people will know this, but I was working in innovation at Paul Hastings, based in New York, leading a global team across their 21 offices. And one of the things that anyone working in innovation has to do is frequently go to market to understand what the solutions are that are out there, what solutions may address internal use cases and pain points. There are all kinds of reasons why you regularly have to look at the market, horizon scanning, looking up solutions that perhaps another lawyer has asked you about. And there really was nowhere you could go at the time to find high quality objective data about the market. It was really missing. To me, it was an obvious gap in the market. In addition to which, there was no way of filtering through the noise in the market to find exactly what it is that solutions do. So a lot of vendors, bless their hearts, are not as good as they could be at expressing their value proposition right on their website. And then there's other more obscure information like security certifications, deployment options, the languages in which solutions operate, the technology underpinning it. All of those are things that buyers need to understand in order to make decisions, sound decisions about legal technology. And there really was no good place to find any of that. Websites frequently omit it. So we initially built Legaltech Hub, and this was myself and at the time my partner and husband, Chris Ford, in order to address that need, really to provide something in the market that would allow buyers to find good quality information all in one place about the solutions they were looking for in legal tech.
Right. And so initially, Legal Tech Hub, and this is how I first came to know it before I was on board on the team, was a directory. And it is so much more than that now, but I think some people still refer to it as a directory either out of habit or because they don't know everything we do. So from that launch in 2020 to where we are now in 2025, can you explain a little bit about the evolution of Legal Tech Hub?
Yeah, it had always been part of our plan to really build it out to be more. I mean, it's so obvious when you have data to then build around it the insights and market reports that will also make it easier to cut through noise and understand exactly how solutions sit in relation to one another, how they compare against one another. And I knew Jeroen Plink from around the market. We had been on a number of panels together. We started speaking in 21 and realized that we had a real shared vision for an insights and analysis platform that would provide really deep market reports and information that went beyond the directory, but was integrated with it to add another layer that really supported buyers in every step of the projects that they run, to horizon scan, to evaluate the market, to identify the right solution, and then start to bring those solutions on board and pilot them. And so we then have built it out and launched in early 23 the first iteration of LTH Premium, which is our subscription product, which allows for all of that self-serve content, really supportive of innovation, KM, IT, research, legal ops teams, both at law firms and at corporate legal departments, at the same time providing a place for vendors to really get that visibility and communicate with their buying public. So we act essentially as an enablement layer between the buyers and the sellers, allowing for faster growth and better decision making, and also adding value to vendors where we're able to show them Here's how you can differentiate in your particular space of the market, because we now know this market incredibly well. And Stephanie, for any data project, really the data is less helpful at the beginning than it is once you've been doing it for a few years, because it takes time to build that up. We're now
Sure.
5 years in, as you've said. And so the data we have is enormously valuable, and the insights we can draw from it are really valuable to everyone. So we then have layered on top of this self-serve platform advisory services where we support, again, buyers, both law firms and corporate legal, around AI strategy, AI policy, technology selection projects, fractional KM and innovation support. And vendors, we help with their development as companies. So from operational support when they were very early, to marketing, sales, developing a pipeline, product strategy and advice, support as they're seeking funding, support as they're seeking exits. And we also support some very mature companies in the market with their product placement in the market. And we work with investors who have an interest in legal technology. And that situates us in a very unique place in the market, because we have insight into the way that all verticals operate. And those insights, obviously in an aggregate, anonymized fashion, flow into everything that we create, all of our content, all of our events. We bring people together around events that allow for a continuation of our educational mandate. And really, our mission is to make law better for everyone involved through creating this enablement layer that just brings sense to a market that is increasingly complex and messy.
Yeah, definitely. And so when I joined LTH about a year ago now, and I first started getting my hands dirty with the platform, I learned there was a lot more in there than I had ever known. And I think that might be the case for a lot of people out there, even those who are currently subscribers. So I understand that you've put together a little demo for us, the way we always do in these legal product briefings.
I have indeed. So, as you've said, Stephanie, Legaltech Hub started as the directory, and the directory is still front and center of what we do, but it is part of it. The directory is free for people to use, although there is a restriction for non-paying users on the number of searches you can do across it. But if you scroll down, you'll see that in addition to the search bar, we have buckets of different types of content, which I'll take you through. We have all topics, which is our full taxonomy of solutions. This is at the parent level, and then there are subtopics underneath it, which allow you to browse at a very granular level. And we have premium content. Premium categories are those in relation to which there are deep resources that we have created that add to the topic. And I'll show you those as well. And then, of course, we publish on a regular basis insights, which are deep industry analysis pieces, product briefings like these, and news articles that have a component to it about really what matters in the market and why news is relevant for people to read. So I'm going to scroll back up and show you a little bit about the search. The keyword search here is very powerful. It allows you to search by keyword, and that can be the name of a company like Litera. And the nice thing there is that you're getting all of the Litera products in one place, broken down by how they are currently bundled, which can be challenging. Even if you go onto the website, the Litera website, it can be quite hard to see what all of the products are. And here we see them all in one place, and you can click in and out to see all of those. You can also search for something like generative AI, and what you'll see is it brings back contents across the site with generative AI and solutions. So say you want to search for something like a category, document automation, and you can then pre-filter to a directory listing or to a particular topic and click straight into document automation. So this allows you to search really comprehensively. You can also leave the search bar blank and search across all results. And when you do that, you get all of the solutions on our site. We just passed 3,000 solutions, which is exciting. I think we launched with about 1,400. And then you can filter by audience. So say you're looking for something for large law, and you're looking for, let's say you are looking for something to do drafting. So you want a document automation solution. You also want to see smart drafting solutions, and you're really interested in ensuring that it uses generative AI. You immediately cut down from over 3,000 to 40 solutions, which is really powerful. And you go from the overwhelming to what is completely manageable. And then say you want to compare a few solutions. You can use our compare feature and decide I'm going to compare these, and then click compare, and it will bring up a nice little grid format that you can then scroll through to see more information about these products and see how they compare next to one another. You can also decide that you want to follow a solution. And when you do that, let's pretend I wasn't following this, you get a little notification saying you're following it. And when you go into your account, you can then see the solutions you're following. So it acts as a kind of shopping cart. You can track solutions that you're interested in. We also have another way of searching across the site, LTH Navigator. Here you can come and ask questions like, what AI solutions should large law firms be looking at? And it will populate with a generated answer that is grounded in the data on our site. And it will also bring back sources for that generated answer, which provides you then with a really comprehensive way of looking across all of the content on the site and bringing back a snapshot of that content easily and in one place. So you can see here that it's looking at a number of different resources, and you can scroll through those and access those as well. Then if you scroll down, I'm just going to show you some of the other content types we have on the site. So I mentioned that premium categories are like the categories that we have for document automation or some of the others I mentioned. If you look in documents, you can see this is broken down quite granularly. So you have subtopics on compare. If you're looking for, a compare solution, for example, that is different from the Terra Compare, which most people use, you can find one here. But premium solutions, premium categories are those where we have already built out deep content, and we'll show you what that means. So essentially, you can see here that once we have premium content, you have this overview page, which provides a snapshot of the solutions in the area, resources that take you through the different phases of an internal project, vendor analyses, which are like pre-filled RFIs that you can then access, and also know-how that is related to this particular content and category. So this becomes like a toolkit around the particular topic you're exploring. You also have your directory snapshot. So this is just those products that fall within this particular category. You can filter and search across these, and you can export that list. And then you have content. And here you'll see that we have a number of different content pieces. Part of this is our procurement framework. And our procurement framework is built of a landscape overview, which shows you what a particular type of category of technology comprises, what it is, what the technology is that underlies it, common use cases broken down, the benefits of this type of technology, why you might license this product, this type of product, some of the risks and adoption challenges and how to overcome those. We also then have an evaluation framework, which supports you as you are asking questions during demos to make sure that you are capturing the right kind of information as you go through a demo. This can be really challenging if you're not familiar with a category, and even if you are, having a set of questions just provides you with a kind of scorecard that you can use that really supports you as you're evaluating the category and makes sure that you're bringing some structure to those demos, especially if not everyone from the same team is able to be there. Then we have a requirement set, and this is something that many people working in firms will realize can take you a long time to build. Internally, this can take you several weeks to build when you think about the different requirements that you may need to look at for a particular type of solution. Here, we provide you with a sample set of functional requirements broken down into categories with notes indicating when this might be particularly helpful. You're then able to tweak this. You can download these in Excel, add your own priority weightings, and use this as a way to come to your final decision around the products that you want to bring in. And then we provide you with a business case. And this is something that a lot of firms may already have a template for internally, but we provide you with ROI arguments. So what are the kinds of things you need to be thinking about as you prepare a business case to leadership as to why it makes sense to bring in this type of technology? And what might the concrete ROI be over the term of ownership? Then we have a pilot guide, and this is a guide that really takes you through best practices for how to pilot this type of solution. What's the kind of thing that you should be thinking about? What are the considerations in terms of how long a pilot should be, how you define success, who should be involved, and so on. Very useful, especially if this is a pilot you haven't done for some time or one that you haven't ever done before. Also, these are helpful tools to train up juniors on a team who may not necessarily have the vast knowledge that seniors do. And then we have a set of vendor analyses, and these are maintained resources that are essentially pre-filled RFIs. So we work on establishing a framework for an RFI within a particular category. We then apply that by working with the vendors. Everything that comes onto Legaltech Hub is editorially reviewed. The vendors provide us with information, but we then review it in light of the particular product. We remove and strip away any marketing hyperbole. So you're getting as close as possible to an objective RFI and one that you can compare like apples to apples against other RFIs in the same category. And this goes very deeply into feature sets and then through training and customer support, pricing models, privacy and security, and so on. That's the kind of information, Stephanie, that really you could not find on the market unless you were talking to the vendor. And we know at Legaltech Hub that about 80% of research is done, or buyers prefer to do approximately 80% of it before they actually reach out to the vendors. So this provides you with a robust content set that allows you to do that research with good comprehensive data before you reach out, before you decide which vendors you want to reach out to.
Yes, and I would note, you mentioned it for the Excel download, but all of those premium documents are downloadable in PDF, so you don't have to just be working in the website if you want to take them and work with them.
That's exactly right. And also, I just want to mention that we do have resources as well for corporate legal teams. And one great resource, for example, is our end-to-end CLM guide, which is a buyer's guide that goes into detail on different products. So we do have, depending on the category, we have a number of different resources that are particularly valuable and again are maintained. And our premium categories are always growing. So we have, I think, Stephanie, on your team, we have 3 or 4 that are about ready to be published in the next month or so. So it's one where, as a subscriber, you are constantly delighted by the additional content that is high quality, really deep researched content that comes out on the site.
Right.
And then we have our know-how content. And this is content where you'll find things like our competitive analyses. We just put out our competitive analysis in 2025 for document automation. You can see that this is comparatively against 2024, a market that has shifted quite significantly. We talk about our methodology for putting these together, and then we really go into some significant detail on our competitive analyses in relation to each of the vendors and how and why they place in the specific place that they are on the quadrant. We also have content on adoption, so how to really drive adoption of generative AI from a behavioral science perspective. We have information about change management, digital transformation, really deep content in relation to exactly the kinds of topics that law firms and buyers care about. In addition to which, we have specific content for mid-sized firms. We have content that comes out on a regular basis, like Stephanie herself publishes a column many of you might have seen, which is really topical about what's happening in the market right now. We have deep content about, what's happening in terms of generative AI and the kinds of risks still out there and what you can do to mitigate those as a firm. So our know-how content is a very robust set of content that is ever growing. It also includes our product briefings, and obviously we're doing one right now so people know what they are. But if you're a subscriber, you get access to our full library of these, and these we publish about 2 a week. And so the lovely thing is you can come in here, and before you have reached out to a vendor, you can find out more about them and watch a little video, which typically is around 15 minutes, kind of the length of time it takes you to drink a cup of coffee, and then determine whether you want to reach out. And finally, we have our lawyer resources. And these are resources that are for the lawyers in your firms or your legal departments, really getting down to kind of that 101 level. What do lawyers have to know? And here we have a number of interesting resources, including our simple guide to legal AI, We've recently released one on biases, one on hallucinations. These are guides that continue to grow. So it's like mini courses, but also things that lawyers should know about. So what are agents in legal? What does it mean when people talk about that? And I just want to also show that we do have collections of content all together. So if you are at a firm and part of your role is horizon scanning, so understanding what's coming down the pipeline, it's really lovely to be able to head to our Startup Central. Again, because we track the market like nobody else does, we have a snapshot of all of the startups in the market that have come in over the last 18 months or so. They are all tagged with startups, so you can see exactly who they are. And it just allows you to learn about what's new, what's hot. It's nice that you can also filter by product type. So you can have a look at, from a data perspective, what are the hot areas right now for startup activity? Just provides you with really good access. I also want to mention that you can actually follow a particular subtopic. So if you're particularly interested, for example, in, let's say, contract review, you can say, I actually want to understand all of the new solutions that are coming out here. And then as new solutions are added, you will get an email notification. So very quickly, you'll be on top of new startups that emerge, because we meet with startups every day at Legaltech Hub and learn about what's coming. If you are a mid-sized firm, which we define as being about 50 to 200 lawyers, or at the edge between 20 and 250, we have deep content specifically for you on what you can do around generative AI, how to really get started, what are the types of solutions out there that make sense for you. We also have content collections specifically for corporate legal departments, and we also cluster all of our generative AI content together because obviously it continues to be a hot topic and people want to know all about it. So that's it at a glance, Stephanie. Obviously, so much more to know about this. I will quickly, because it's cool, show you consolidations. Obviously, there's so much M&A in the market, and it's lovely to be able to go to one place and see what has happened. This allows you to really have this granular data table. We show an article for each M&A activity that we track here, so you're able to read more about it as well. But if you are responsible for letting your executive team know what's happening and what the likely impact is of M&A, that's another handy feature on the site as well.
And I know as you were scrolling through, sometimes you saw tags that said premium or enhanced. What exactly does that mean? I know we get the question a lot of, how are we paid to play? Do we only write about companies that are paying us to do certain things? Can you address what those tags mean?
It's a really good question. So the underlying philosophy of Legaltech Hub is product and vendor agnosticism. We strongly believe, because we come from the background of service design and running effective projects and problem solving, we really believe that you cannot say that one product is best in a particular category, because what's best for one firm is not going to be best for another. It's so dependent on what problem you're solving, what use case you're addressing, your own internal systems, environment, risk perspective, all of that. But we do, so none of this will never come out on the site and say we recommend this over that. Vendors are able to pay for additional space on the site. So everyone on the site, all vendors in the legal tech ecosystem, get a free listing on Legaltech Hub. That is why we can be completely comprehensive of the legal technology market globally. If you are a premium vendor, you get additional room so that it enables you to add, for example, thought leadership and white papers. It also allows you to add videos and screenshots should you choose to do so. It also allows you to add pricing information should you choose to do so. So this is what it means when you see something tagged as premium, but we aim to be very transparent. So we will always highlight for buyers using the site when someone has paid us that money, and that is indicated by the premium or the enhanced tag. I also just quickly want to show this drop down. You can see events. So we have a cool events calendar here, which is not just our events, but all legal tech events happening. If you have a legal tech conference and it's not on here, please let us know. We will add it. It allows you to quickly see where something is, when it's happening. You can see, what is it today? It is end of September. So you can see Buying Legal Conference is happening. The Lex Summit is happening in Salt Lake City. It's a great way of just finding out what's happening in the market. But at the same time, if you drop down to LTH events, you can see which of our events is coming up. And on October 15th, we have our Mid-Law Tech and Innovation Seminar for Boston. And so that will be a great event. Any other questions, Stephanie?
No, I think that covers it. I mean, there is more we could go into, which, might seem hard to believe, but there is a lot on there, and there's more on the vendor side as well. But I think this was good. This is why I wanted to do this, to give that overview of what it is we do, because there are a lot of resources on here. And when you say insights and analysis, people don't necessarily always know what that means. And I'm always telling people we're so much more than a directory. So I'm glad we were able to do this.
Same here. And one other thing that I would just add is we're also constantly growing and evolving. So we have a new feature launching in the next few months, which will allow firms to manage their product portfolios on our site. We have additional features launching all the time. And so for our subscribers, it's nice because this is an organic platform that really grows and evolves as their needs grow and evolve. And we're very customer led. So we like to listen to our customers and understand what it is that they need from the platform as well.
Right. And we do newsletters as well. So if you want to be kept in the know without having to scroll the site every day about what's new, in addition to your follow features, you can sign up for those. And we're always just constantly trying to get more information out there for the market. So I'm glad now, hopefully a better understanding, seeing it in action, all the things they can find on LTA.
Thank you, Stephanie. And yes, please do sign up for newsletters. It's Stephanie and her team. And on the vendor side, we have Cheryl Wilson Griffin and Sam Moore producing the Vendor Edge, which provides insightful content for vendors. We didn't even get to show you, but there's an entire subscription side of the platform for vendors themselves, offering insights that are as important for vendors around how to value your company, how to sell to law firms effectively. So you can come on board as a subscriber as well. And there's an entire wealth of content that is specific to you. And I don't know of any other organization that provides that kind of content for vendors too.
Yes. And we always want to know what everyone is up to. So even after watching this, if you have information to share with us, if you have a new product we might not know about, any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'll put our URL at the bottom of the screen like we always do on these product briefings. And thank you for joining me and agreeing to do this, Nikki.
Thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. This was really fun.
Yes. And to everyone out there, have a great day. And we hope to run into it in the next conference or see you online.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.